Ever dreamed of growing stunning orchids like these in your own home? Orchids, with their exotic allure and captivating beauty, are a joy to behold. These vibrant blooms, renowned for their intricate details and vivid colors, are more than just a pretty face. They're a testament to the remarkable diversity of nature. But what if you could bring a slice of that exotic charm into your own living space? Today we're going to explore just that, so get ready, plant enthusiasts, for a journey into the fascinating world of orchids. Stay tuned as we delve into the fascinating world of orchids. Orchids, a diverse and unique group of flowering plants, are more accessible than you think. With over 25,000 species spread across every continent except Antarctica, orchids are one of the most diverse plant families on Earth. Each species is a marvel of evolution, perfectly adapted to its environment, whether it be the humid rainforests of South America or the arid deserts of Australia. Many orchids have formed complex relationships with specific pollinators. The orchid's shape, color, and scent are all tailored to attract these pollinators, leading to the incredible variety we see today. Some orchids, like the bucket orchid, have even evolved intricate mechanisms to ensure pollination, involving a fascinating dance between flower and insect. Orchids are also unique in their growth habits. While we often picture them clinging to tree branches, they can also be found growing in the ground, on rocks, or even hanging in the air. This is due to their classification as epiphytes, lithophytes, or terrestrials. Epiphytic orchids grow on trees, lithophytic orchids on rocks, and terrestrial orchids in soil. This flexibility gives them the ability to colonize a wide range of habitats. To start your orchid growing journey, you'll need some essential supplies. First up, let's talk about soil mix. Orchids aren't your average houseplants, and they need a special blend of bark, moss, and charcoal to thrive. This mix allows for excellent drainage and prevents the roots from being too wet. For those on a tight budget, consider making your own mix using a combination of fir bark, sphagnum moss, and horticultural charcoal. Next, you'll need pots. Orchids prefer a snug fit, so opt for a pot that's just big enough to accommodate the roots. The best pots for orchids have plenty of drainage holes to prevent water from pooling at the bottom. You can find a variety of orchid pots in garden centers or online, but if you're looking to save some cash, any pot with good drainage can work. Just make sure to place some pebbles at the bottom to improve drainage. Now let's discuss humidity trays. Orchids hail from tropical climates, so they love high humidity. A humidity tray is simply a tray filled with water and pebbles, with the pot placed on top. The water evaporates and increases the humidity around the plant. You can easily DIY a humidity tray with a shallow dish, some pebbles, and water. Other essentials include a spray bottle for misting, a pair of sharp scissors for pruning, and a good quality orchid fertilizer. The spray bottle helps maintain humidity, the scissors assist in trimming dead or damaged parts, and the fertilizer provides the nutrients your orchid needs to bloom beautifully. Lastly, don't forget the most important ingredient: patience. Orchids can be a bit finicky and may take time to adjust to their new home, but with careful attention and the right supplies, they will reward you with their stunning blooms. Remember, caring for orchids is more of an art than a science. It's about understanding your plant, observing its needs, and adjusting your care accordingly. So don't be afraid to experiment and find what works best for your orchid. With these supplies, you're ready to plant your very own orchid. Now that you have your supplies, it's time to plant your orchid. Embarking on the journey of orchid planting is thrilling and rewarding. Let's break this process down into digestible steps. First, prepare your pot. Make sure it has ample drainage holes to prevent water from stagnating. A clear plastic pot is often a wise choice, as it allows you to keep an eye on the roots' health and development. Next, it's time to create the ideal home for your orchid. Mix together bark, perlite, and charcoal. This mimics the orchid's natural environment and provides excellent drainage, a crucial factor in orchid health. Now, gently place your orchid in the pot. Be careful not to damage the roots. Distribute the bark mixture around the roots, ensuring they are well covered but not compressed. Remember, orchids like to feel secure but not suffocated. Watering comes next. Drench the pot thoroughly and then allow it to drain. Orchids prefer a good soak followed by a dry spell, rather than a constant level of moisture. Lastly, find a perfect spot for your orchid. They love bright indirect light and a consistent temperature. Keep them away from drafts, radiators, and direct sunlight. And there you have it, a step-by-step guide to planting your very own exotic orchid. Remember, patience is key. With the right care and attention, your orchid will reward you with stunning blooms. Congratulations! You've successfully planted your orchid! Taking care of your orchid is a rewarding process that involves watering, lighting, and fertilizing. The first step in orchid care is watering. It's important to remember that orchids are not your typical houseplants. They originate from tropical rainforests where water is abundant but quickly drains away. So, while they enjoy a good drink, they don't like to have wet feet. This means you should water your orchid thoroughly, but ensure it drains well and never let it sit in water. A great tip is to water your orchid early in the day, so it has plenty of time to dry before the cooler night temperatures set in. Next, let's talk about lighting. Orchids love light, but not too much of it. Direct sunlight can burn their leaves, so it's best to place your orchid in a bright but indirect light. An east or north-facing window usually works well. If you notice your orchid's leaves turning yellow, it might be getting too much light. On the other hand, if the leaves are dark green, it might not be getting enough. The perfect balance is a light, grassy green color. Now, on to fertilizing. Orchids do need food, but not as much as you might think. During their growing season, usually spring and summer, fertilize your orchid every 2 weeks with a specialized orchid fertilizer. In the fall and winter, you can cut back to once a month. Remember, when it comes to fertilizing, less is more. Over-fertilizing can lead to salt buildup, which can damage the orchid's roots. And lastly, a word on temperature. Orchids prefer a temperature drop at night, mimicking their natural habitat. A difference of about 10 degrees between day and night is ideal. In caring for your orchid, remember that each one is unique and may require slight adjustments to these general guidelines. But with patience and a keen eye, you'll soon learn what your orchid likes best. With these tips, your orchid will thrive and bloom beautifully. Like all plants, orchids can run into a few issues. First, let's tackle pests. Aphids, scale, and mealybugs are the usual culprits. They're tiny but mighty, causing damage by sucking sap from your orchids. The solution? A gentle insecticidal soap or a natural remedy like neem oil should do the trick. Remember, prevention is better than cure. Regularly check your plants for any signs of these invaders. Next on the list, diseases. The two most common are root rot and leaf spot. Root rot is often caused by overwatering. If you notice yellow, mushy roots, it's time to change your watering habits. On the other hand, leaf spot is usually due to fungal or bacterial infections. To combat this, remove affected leaves and apply a fungicide or bactericide. Lastly, let's discuss environmental stress. Orchids are sensitive to their surroundings. Too much light can scorch their leaves, while too little can stunt their growth. Similarly, if the temperature is too high or too low, your orchids may suffer. The key is to mimic their natural habitat as closely as possible. Provide ample indirect light, maintain a consistent temperature, and ensure high humidity. In the end, orchids are resilient. They've adapted to survive in diverse environments around the world. So, don't fret. With the right care, your orchids can overcome these challenges. Remember, every plant owner faces these issues at some point. You're not alone in this journey, and with patience and persistence, you'll soon be rewarded with stunning blooms. Growing exotic orchids at home is an exciting and rewarding journey. We've explored the diverse world of orchids, discovered essential care supplies, learned how to plant and maintain these beautiful plants, and even tackled common issues. The joy of watching your orchid thrive is a gratifying experience, a testament to your newfound green thumb. Ready to start your orchid growing journey? Remember to share your progress. Happy growing!